again. On this video, I'm going to go through my reasons for feeling like my prediction for UFC 298 is accurate, right? Um, I guess I'll have to wait for a couple of you to log in. Let me just start. I think everyone will just watch this a little bit later on once I'm done with this whole stream. Um, Here's why I feel like my prediction for UFC 298 is accurate. More specifically, my prediction for the main event. Right. I was going through a lot of my picks, right, throughout the year. I started my channel last year. I think I've been saying this a lot on this particular, especially on my live. I've been saying this a hell of a lot. So I started my channel last year, right? And I predicted all the fights, mainly the pay-per-views, starting with Hill versus Texiera. I think, yeah. I predicted Hill versus Texiera. From there up until now, I've been predicting main event fights, right? And here's why I feel like my predictions are accurate, especially when it comes to the main events. I was looking at, I think the first prediction that I made last year was Hill versus Texiera. I picked Hill, and he won. The next pay per view I think was Volkanovski versus, what do you call him, Islam Makhachev, right? Um, I predicted Islam Makhachev would win the first time, and he won. The next pay per view, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me, was Adesanya versus Pereira 2, right? Yeah, I think so. I predicted Adesanya would beat Alex Pereira. Even when people were telling me I'm crazy, that's not gonna happen, I'm high, and all these type of things, they were calling me names. Like, I don't know why MMA fans are so mean, but nonetheless. So I predicted Israel Adesanya would win that fight. Right. The next card I think was Nunes versus who's this other chick? I forgot her name. If not, it's between, yeah, it's either Nunes versus this other chick, or it was Sterling versus Cejudo. But on both of them, let me start with Nunes versus this. I forgot her name, guys. Sorry if it's disrespectful, but I forgot her name. Um, I predicted Nunes would win. Um, Sterling versus Cejudo, I predicted Cejudo would win, right? And then now we are at what? It was Hill, I predicted Hill, I predicted Islam, I predicted Israel Adesanya, I predicted Sterling, I predicted Nunes. That's five, right? Pay-per-views, I'm talking about pay-per-view main events. That's five out of five. And then the next pay-per-view was Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. I predicted Volkanovski would win. I was correct. The next pay-per-view I think was, what do you call him? Gaethje versus Poirier. I predicted Gaethje would win. That's seven correct. On main events, I'm only speaking about main events, pay-per-view main events to be specific. Seven correct. Keep in mind that I started my channel last year, so this is only the information that I have from the moment I started my channel. So at this point, it's seven correct. Seven out of seven pay-per-views that I predicted, I got correct. We are at Gaethje, right? And then after Gaethje, which was UFC 291, it was Adesanya versus Strickland. That was the upset. My prediction actually predicted Strickland, but after Adesanya's performance against Pereira, I was like, no way Strickland is going to beat Adesanya, especially after his performance to run through him. That was the first main event that I got wrong. Throughout the whole year that I've been predicting main events, pay-per-view close fights and correctly, but let me continue with pay-per-views, right? The first one that I got wrong was Strickland versus Adesanya, which is now seven correct and one wrong out of eight, right? And then the next pay per view was what do you call it? What was the next pay per view? Oh, the next pay per view was O'Malley. I think O'Malley versus Sterling. I predicted O'Malley would beat Sterling. So now we are at nine pay per views, right? We are at nine pay per views, and I've only gotten one wrong, right? Sterling versus O'Malley. I predicted O'Malley would win. You all the things that I'm saying right now. You can go to my shorts section, right? I'm not lying to you and like making all of this up. When we're done with this stream, you can go to my shorts. Everything is there. My videos from when I started, they're there. But the Hill versus Texiera prediction was in standard format video. But nonetheless, let me continue with what I'm saying right now. So I predicted Sean O'Malley would beat Sterling. That's that's um, that's 8 out of 9. All right, and then Islam Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2 at Abu Dhabi. I predicted Islam would beat Alexander Volkanovski. That's 9 out of 10. Pay-per-view main event. I'm talking only about pay-per-view main events. And then let's go to yes, it was what do you call him? Who's this guy? Who was main eventing? Alex Pereira versus Jiri. That's another one that I got wrong. So this is two now out of 11. I got two wrong and I got 9 out of 11 correct, all right? And then let's go to the next one, which is Leon Edwards versus what do you call him? Colby Covington. I predicted that Leon would win, right? So now that's 10 correct and then two wrong out of 12. Um, On to the next one, which is Strickland versus Duplessis. I predicted that Duplessis would beat Strickland. That's 11. That's 11 correct and two wrong out of 13 pay-per-view main events predictions. So when people start to question me, and I only realized this yesterday, I was like, damn, my predictions are actually flipping correct, like accurate. So imagine if I don't bet on fights, right? But imagine if I was betting on fights. If I bet on all my fights, I would have made an insane amount of money. Predict on pay-per-view main events only. Because if you've been on this stream from when I started, I was going through all my main event picks for pay-per-views. And since I started this channel, I've predicted I think about 13 main event pay-per-view main events. And out of 13, I've gotten 11 correct and only two wrong. So imagine if I was betting on all those fights in 1 year, how much would I have made? Because I only got two wrong and then 11 correct. So this is why I feel like, sadly, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. Because of what I just went through, because of everything that I've just told you guys about my prediction accuracy, unfortunately, this is why I think Alexander Volkanovski is most likely going to lose the featherweight title to Ilia Topuria. This is not just me saying all of this; it's based on previous predictions that I've told you, and something that you guys can actually go check on the channel. You don't have to take my word for it. I could be lying to you. You never know. So you can go to the channel and check from the first. I can't remember which like UFC, which pay-per-view Teixeira versus Hill fought on, but it's on the channel. So go back to the channel, like go back to my channel and just review all my predictions from Hill versus Teixeira and go through all main event. I'm talking specifically about main events, pay-per-view main events, not fight nights. I'm not mentioning fight nights right now because I haven't gone through all my fight nights. But a prediction accuracy of 11 correct and 2 wrong is insane, in my opinion. It's incredibly insane. I don't think there are many people who can say that. So that's essentially why I feel like my prediction for UFC 298, especially for the main event, if I was a betting man, I think at this point I would have enough information for myself to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in my main event predictions only, my pay-per-view main event predictions only. So if maybe my budget for an entire month to bet on fights, let's say my budget was 5,000 for argument's sake, I would bet only on pay-per-view main cards because I've gotten so many correct that even if I get two or three wrong, I don't have a problem with that because out of 13 so far, out of 13 fights, main event pay-per-view fights, I've predicted 11 out of 13 correct. So if I was betting 5,000 on all of them, I would have made back all the money that I had. I would have maybe lost on the two fights that I got wrong from the 11 that I got correct. And on top of that, a lot of the predictions that I made were underdogs, right? O'Malley, people were not saying O'Malley is going to beat Aljamain Sterling. Everyone was laughing at me when I predicted that Aljamain, but again, Sean O'Malley is going to beat Aljamain Sterling. They were calling me crazy. So imagine how much money I would have gotten if I was betting on that particular fight because O'Malley was an underdog, and I was confident that he was going to win, right? So that's essentially why I feel like my main event pay-per-view predictions are extremely accurate. I'll try to do this same thing for fight nights, right? I'll try to do the same thing for fight nights. It's insane. I got excited. I couldn't wait to make this particular live because I work so hard on this channel, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. But when I look at the numbers and I look at what I've done in the past year, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm being too hard on myself, you know. Obviously, I'm constantly trying to improve my prediction accuracy as much as possible. I want to get to 100%, but this is something that I thought I should share with my subscribers and the people who follow me because I feel like this is useful information. You know, betting on main events only, I'm talking about for me. This is not financial advice, guys. Don't be going out there saying, oh, this guy gave me financial advice. This is not financial advice. I'm just saying, for me personally, if I had a budget of 5,000 in a month, I would only bet it on my main event pay-per-view picks. Because in the past year, since I started my channel, I've predicted 13 main event pay-per-view cards. And then out of 13, or rather 13 main event pay-per-view fights, and out of 13, I've gotten 11 correct. So if I was betting 5,000, 5,000, 5,000 on all 13 of those particular fights, imagine how much money I would have made. Like I would have probably made hundreds of thousands potentially. So that's just me. That I'm just giving you the information that I feel like might be helpful. But once again, I'm not a financial advisor. Well, not yet. I'm still working on, researching TKO. If you've been following my stream, you'll know that I'm also researching TKO, and I'm trying to find ways to help my subscribers make money in a safe way by investing in a company they already know a lot about, which is the UFC. We follow the UFC, the news, and everything like that for free. So I'm trying to make sure that the information that we have out of fandom, we can actually monetize it and make it money and make it financially beneficial because we know a lot more about the UFC than an average person. I'm sure a lot of fans know a lot more about the UFC than even some stockbrokers. So than even some stock traders. I mean, so if we know so much about the UFC, I think that information should be used to generate income. So I'm trying to learn how to trade stocks, and then maybe I'll bring that information to the channel and share it with you guys because I feel like that's one of the easiest way to make money. Um, So yeah, but until I'm going to do my official predictions from the prelims, early prelims, up until the main card this coming Friday live. But if you don't want to wait up until Friday, you can just go to my shorts section. My predictions for the entire card for UFC 298 are there. But I'm going to break down all my predictions and explain why